Should you attempt to build your own custom home? I've been a builder for 30 years and I'm going to give you my opinion. So I have a running joke that I wish everybody would build their own home one time, because I think if they did, they would have more appreciation for professional builders. It's not easy, and if it was, everybody would be doing it, right? But in all seriousness, should you attempt to do this? Well, my take is there are some people that are cut out for it and some that are not. If you are somebody that is an entrepreneurial type of person, you are really into construction, maybe you've got some knowledge. Oftentimes people that do this are already in the industry in one form or another. They are a plumbing contractor, an electrician. It's something that, in my opinion, you should have a level of ability in the industry to even attempt to do it, because there is so much more to it than people realize. I have seen a few people try to do this, and I'm going to relay a personal experience. I had a guy I knew, and this has been quite a few years ago now. I'm going to say this was 8-9 years ago. I had started my company, had maybe had it for a couple years, and as happens in home building, was in kind of a slow period. You know, I needed some work. And this guy calls me and says, hey, I'd like to build a really nice house. I think he had like a 5,000 square foot living plan that he was going to build a little further out on some acreage that he had. And I said, yeah, I'd love to do it for you. You know, he sent me the plan. We met. I looked at everything, said, yeah, I can definitely do this for you. As a matter of fact, I told him, you know, the fairest way to do it is I'll do it cost plus. So you see all the invoices, you're paying true cost, you're just paying my company a builder fee to do it. And I gave him the estimate and all the info. And he came back and said, you know what, I think I want to build this house myself. I can save all the money I'm going to pay you to do it. And, you know, I said, okay, well, you're not wrong about that, but let me sharpen my pencil a little bit. The truth was, I was pretty slow. I needed work. And so I went and, you know, as I said, sharpened the pencil, was willing to do it for even less. A number that normally I would never even consider building a home for, but you know how it is, desperate times, desperate measures. So I basically struck a deal that I thought was going to be, you know, something he couldn't turn down, and he turned it down. He said, no, I want to do this myself. Maybe part of it was just him wanting to do it, to take it on, which is fine. You know, I went on down the road and kept doing what I was doing. I think he knew better than to ask me for contractors, but he did at one point ask me for a framing contractor. So I did turn him on to the framing contractor that I've used for more than a decade. At one point on one of my jobs, my framer starts telling me about some of what was going on with the framing aspect of it. And as expected, mistakes had happened. And they were from the home builder's side because he was being a construction superintendent. The framer had done something that I don't even remember the situation, but ultimately with what this homeowner wanted to do, the framer had to come back after he thought he was finished, do a lot more work. It was a pretty complex plan. So that's another thing too. If you were going to do this and you had a basic box of a floor plan, something like a volume production builder would build, still complicated, but it's substantially more complicated to build a 5,000 square foot custom home. And I had seen these plans, they were pretty complex. So that had happened where I knew there were bumps, you know, along the way. And then what must have been a year later, I saw this buddy at Home Depot. He's actually there buying stuff for his house. And he starts telling me how it's going and is relaying to me how they're doing the tile in the shower. It had been a year before or longer maybe when my framer was telling me the stories about the framing, so I kind of knew the timeline. And I would have finished a home like this already, or my company would have, and meanwhile he was just putting tile in his showers. So kind of enlightened me how this was going. You know, I don't know how long it took him to build it. I never really got to hear all the gory details about what happened, but I'm sure I know what happened, which were a lot of mistakes being made along the way, doing things out of order, these kind of things that happen when you're brand new in this industry. In any job, if you went to any job and attempted to do someone else's job that all you know is just the general outline of, you would probably stumble and have some issues. And so I think that's what happened in this situation. And so it's a good anecdote because, I kind of got to see it firsthand. I thought, wow, I would have been done with that job so long ago. And so that brings up some points related to the reason most people want to build their own home. Hey, I want to save the money. I don't want to pay the builder all this money that they want to do this process. That's understandable, but here's one thing I'm going to tell you is if you are a rank beginner, you've never done anything like this before, or you're a DIY person, okay, you know how to frame a wall or do some basic stuff. Again, it is a whole different can of worms to build an entire house, especially when you are in city limits with permitting and all the things that you have to deal with, inspections. And so some of the concept of saving money, in my opinion, gets washed out by the money that you are going to spend being inexperienced. So in that anecdote I told about the buddy that built his own home, best I could tell, it took twice as long as it should have. So right there, you are not only not saving money, you are spending money, especially if you have financing, because you are paying interest on the construction loan, right? So you want to get the home done as quickly as possible within reason. So if something takes twice as long because you were inexperienced, then that's costing you money. Then there's you're a one-time buyer of all these products. So I own a professional home building company that's been around for a long time and buys a lot of materials, and we have builder pricing. So when you are a one-time buyer, you go to some local lumber yard and they know you are somebody building your own home, you are not only not going to get builder pricing, they are going to probably add quite a bit on there. So you're going to pay more for a lot of your supplies. So there again, that is now washing out some of the savings that you think you're going to get. The third thing, and I can't stress enough, are the mistakes. The mistakes are going to cost you. As long as I've been doing this and we've been in this industry, stuff happens out there. It is a complex, challenging business to be in. You're relying on all kinds of other people, subcontractors, to do the work for you. And if you don't know what you're doing, you are going to make a lot of mistakes. Mistakes can be big, they can be small, they can be sending contractors in out of order that has you doing things you wouldn't normally have to do. And those mistakes or those types of situations will cost you money. So there again, you are washing out a lot of the savings that you think you're getting because you're not paying a builder for their overhead and profit. So I think those three things, the length of time it's going to take you to build the home, the not good pricing you're going to get because you're a one-time buyer of all these materials. You're not a home building company that lumber yard or that window company knows is going to keep getting business from you, so you are going to be charged more. And then number three are going to be the mistakes that are inevitable. Even good, experienced custom home builders have mistakes occasionally when they're building a home. Now, when you're a rank amateur, there are probably going to be quite a few. And in my opinion, those three things may wash out the entire savings you thought you were getting. Now, if you're somebody that just wants to do this, maybe you want to own a home building company someday, I say go for it. But if you're just somebody who thinks, I think I can do this and save what it looks like this builder I'm talking to is charging for it, you might think twice about it. I joke all the time, in theory, I could change the oil in my truck for less money than what the place down the street charges me, but it would take twice as long. I'd probably have to buy some tools for it. I'd have bloody knuckles and be cursing. And so it's not worth it. And there again, I'd have to buy some tools and some things that, I don't have right now, and I would spend more money. So maybe it wouldn't be less than the oil change place down the street. Definitely would not be as convenient. So there's something to be said for having a professional do this for you. But if you want to try it, I say go for it.